What's going on YouTube? Tyler James here, and we got a special treat for you today. I'm actually collabing with Josh Envyerz, another actually one of the better YouTubers for NBA online. Him and I did a live mock draft, no practice ahead of time. We just hit the record button and went back and forth making our picks. A little different than most mock drafts. It's live, we're making our picks, and it's, it'll be something different for the channel. Thank you so much for the views and the comments on the last video. I really appreciate that. This channel's growing fast and we're going to keep growing. I'll have some contests and giveaways for you guys very soon, but for now, let's get into this live mock draft that we recorded. I think you guys will definitely enjoy it.
So with the first pick in the NBA draft, the Boston Celtics, Tyler, who do you got them taking at number 1?
There's been a lot of speculation with this pick. A lot of people think they should trade it. I think Danny Ainge should make these picks every single year, and this year should be Markelle Fultz, simply because he is not just a point guard. He's a true combo guard. He can play alongside Isaiah Thomas. If Isaiah Thomas is at the 1, he can play the 2. And when Isaiah's out, he can play the 1. Isaiah's contract's up in a year, 2 years, so he could be leaving soon. So you draft him. He can play with Isaiah for now, or he's the future for later on. But then we get the Los Angeles Lakers, who jumped into the top 3. They're at the number 2 pick. Who do you think they're going for?
It's been like set in stone, essentially, where Lonzo Ball will be a Los Angeles Laker. LeVar Ball, the whole Ball family, they're coming along with Lonzo, and I can't wait for the Zo2 Lakers edition colorway. That's going to be pretty nice, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But that's a nice young core with the Los Angeles Lakers, and Paul George apparently doesn't want to be in Indiana anymore, but I don't think trading away this pick to Indiana is a good idea to mess up the core, considering they'll probably have to give up this pick and another young piece. I don't see that happening. Might as well draft the, I guess, quote-unquote best available player in Lonzo Ball. But moving on from the Los Angeles Lakers, the third pick is the Philadelphia 76ers. This is where it could all go wrong right here.
I think personally they need another guard, somebody who can score the ball like Malik Monk.
This high?
Exactly. Then again, it might be too high for him. So what you got to really do is, if you're trying to get in the mind of Philadelphia, best player available, it's Josh Jackson. I have them going Josh Jackson because if you just go by draft history alone, they always go best player available. They did it with Embiid. I don't think Philadelphia should go Josh Jackson, but that's who I have them picking. I honestly think they should go for a scorer or a point guard. So a lot's going to depend on Phoenix next because they don't need a point guard either, but they're up number 4. Who do you got them going for?
Might as well take another small forward here at that 4th spot and draft Jason Tatum. Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, that's a nice little duo right there. Draft the best available, and that best available player, in my opinion, is Jason Tatum. And if we move on to the 5th pick, you're up next with the Sacramento Kings.
At number 5, I know their guy. It's De'Aaron Fox, the guy that's actually been climbing the boards. Some people say he could go as high as number 3 to Philadelphia. Probably not going to happen because, like we said, Ben Simmons going to handle the ball there. But at 5 for Sacramento, believe it or not, there's actually rumors that he says he wants to go to Sacramento. He wants to be in Sacramento because he's friends with, I think, Willie Cauley-Stein, who actually went to Kentucky. They got to do it. And, that'll really set the tone for the rest of the draft. It really will. So next we got Orlando. They could use a few different areas. Who do you got them going?
They already have their point guard of the future, in my opinion. They don't need another point guard. What they need is some scoring. Obviously, if you look at guys like Evan Fournier, he's probably their best shooter, unfortunately. So might as well add some more shooting and instant buckets with Malik Monk with this 6th spot. Elfrid Payton playing the defense, and then Malik Monk at the 2 playing, just getting buckets. That's a nice 1-2 combo right there. So Malik Monk, in my opinion, is the perfect fit for the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic fans might not think this way. Let's move on to the 7th pick, and the Minnesota Timberwolves have that. Who are you picking for them?
Why not add a guy that could be kind of like your X factor, the guy who, does the small things, plays defense, rebounds. Jonathan Isaac can do that. And, he could end up being a decent scorer. He was the 2nd or 3rd option at Florida State. Dwayne Bacon was the number 1. He didn't show much scoring potential, so I'm honestly not as high on him as much people. But I like that fit in Minnesota just because he can be that difference maker, that gritty player. And I think it's very likely to happen at this point unless somebody takes Isaac higher. That could definitely happen. So then we're on to 2 teams that might actually need point guards, and New York Knicks next. So who do you got for them?
So it all depends on what the Knicks want to do. Do they want to trade Carmelo Anthony? Is Carmelo Anthony gone? Are they going to be doing this kind of rebuild where they have a bunch of young players like Ntilikina? I feel like he's a more raw talent than Dennis Smith. So if they trade away Carmelo Anthony, it would be a good spot to draft Ntilikina. And if they don't trade away Carmelo Anthony, I'd say draft Dennis Smith, considering he's, in my opinion, the more overall better player right now coming into the draft. So let's say figuratively, if Carmelo Anthony is gone, I'm going to trade Carmelo Anthony. We're going to draft this young Frank Ntilikina guy. He's 6'5", plays defense, has size for a point guard. Carmelo Anthony's gone out of New York, so it's time to rebuild. Next thing we're going to have to do is just try to find a team crazy enough to take Joakim's contract.
Good luck with that, honestly. For me, number 9, I get exactly what you're saying there. I actually would have gone whichever point guard you didn't pick, I was going to pick for them. I'm going Dennis Smith Jr. here. I think they do go point guard here if they don't look at marketing, and they're going to go Dennis Smith Jr. But if Frank Ntilikina isn't picked at number 8, even though he just was, don't forget Dallas has a very good international prospect scouting team. So they probably have seen a lot of Ntilikina. They might know some things we don't know. So it's going to be Ntilikina, Smith, Ntilikina. And then we are on to the 10th. We're going to round off the top 10 right now with Sacramento, their 2nd overall pick.
But now, since you passed on him, at that 10th spot, I guess the Kings just rubbing their hands together saying, oh boy, the Mavs passed on this man. Time to pick him up at that 10th spot. I like this Kings team. They added De'Aaron Fox, right? Or you added De'Aaron Fox. And then adding Lauri Markkanen at that power forward position. They kind of fixed both of their problems. Unfortunately, they didn't fix their small forward problem. So maybe through free agency, they'll be able to do something about it. But moving on to the 11th pick, Charlotte Hornets.
They could use a big man. They really could. They got Kaminsky. They got some other, young players. So right here, I'm going I knew I was going to do that. Justin Jackson, the other Jay Jackson in this draft, the North Carolina champion.
Is he going this high, though?
Is he going?
It's kind of high.
How well are his workouts going to go? Is a team going to fall in love with him? Are they going to see he led a team to a national championship and maybe for once, pick off that? I don't know. This is very high for him. He could go as late as the late first round, but I'm hoping he's going to impress some teams and show his scoring ability. Next, we get up the Motor City, Detroit, number 12. They could go a lot of different ways too. Who do you got for them?
Yeah, they could, especially if you pass Zach Collins. Zach Collins is a very interesting player. A lot of drafts projected him to be a top 10 guy, and you passed on him. You passed on him with that 11th pick. Looking at this Pistons roster, they don't need another big man, though. That's the thing. Might as well add some shooting, because if you look at this Pistons team, they don't have a lot of shooters. Luke Kennard out of Duke University will help him offensively from 3. So let's move on to the 13th pick here, the Denver Nuggets.
So this late in the draft, a lot depends on what other teams do. The Nuggets are a tough pick. They got one of the better players in the draft last year, in my opinion, Jamal Murray. I can see them adding a little bit of a grit to their roster. So I'm going OG Anunoby. I know I just pronounced that wrong. From Indiana, he was hurt some of the season, but he's an NBA-ready body, can play defense and go guard one of your most athletic players right off the bat. And Denver could use that. Any team could use that. We got one more pick left in the Miami Heat. They just squeaked into the lottery. A lot will depend on who picks where, but who do you have them going for this final pick?
Surprisingly, I'm looking at all the picks that we picked. I mentioned him earlier, Zach Collins. He was projected to be a top 10 pick. You passed on him
twice
at the 11th pick. I passed on him just for the Pistons having too many bigs, and then you passed on him again.
Twice, man. No big men in the NBA.
Twice.
It's over. Back to the basket, big men are gone.
Zach Collins, kind of a traditional big, can step out, have a mid-range jumper, but they need a stretch big to go with Hassan Whiteside, and Zach Collins could possibly be that stretch big. Not the best, not a Lauri Markkanen, but he can stretch the floor a little bit. He could even be the backup big if he needs to be, considering.
That's a decent last pick for sure. So that's it. That's the lottery.
With that said, Tyler, James, I'd like to thank you for coming on. Vice versa. Any plugs you want to plug right here?
My social media is at Tyler James NBA.
Yeah, the link's in the description if you want to check that out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tyler, any last words?
Can't wait for the draft, and welcome to Boston, Markelle Fultz.
We'll talk to you guys later.